Hello guys, welcome to this live stream. So here we are actually building basically a video editor in React.js where we will actually be trimming or cutting videos inside browser. So it's a real-time editor. You can see right here on your screen right here. So we are actually building right here a video timeline editor in React.js using a very popular library called as FFmpeg. FFmpeg, guys, as you all know, it's a command line utility for video and audio. This is their official website, and you can basically install this library on your command line, but we will be using it in the browser. So I have already installed it. You will see that it works in the command line very well. But this application that I developed, which is a video trimmer, which allows you to cut your videos. So this application is developed in React.js. So we have a simple choose file button. So as I click this choose file button, guys, what will happen? It will allow us to open our file picker where I can actually pick out my video file that I want to trim. So all extensions are supported: MP4, AVI, MOV. You can actually select your video file. Let me select my video file. So as I select my video file, guys, you can see it will actually create this nice little slider or timeline from which we can actually, using our mouse, we can directly cut out the portion that we want using this. So as I am changing these sliders, you will basically see that the start duration is changing. As I'm moving the slider, the video is also moving here, and also the ending duration. So you can basically, just using these sliders, you can just trim out the portion that you want in the video. So as you do this right here, let's suppose I want this portion. So there are three buttons. Either you can play this portion, something like this. You can
So the
control
video will
this.
play.
The
Left
second button
position
is for
all.
the pause. So if you click this button pause, the video will stop. Again, if you click play,
That stuff.
the video will play. Again, if you click the pause button, it will pause. The third button, if you see, trim button. So if you want to basically cut this portion that I selected in the video, simply select that portion. So now FFmpeg WebAssembly library will be loaded, and it will actually trim out this portion using FFmpeg. So as I click this button, guys, instantly your video will be cut using this 59 seconds. You can calculate here from this portion. This is the starting duration, this is the ending duration. This is the actual difference of these two things, and we have successfully, this is our output video.
Something like
You can simply play
let's
this
suppose.
output video, which is, and right click and download this video so inside your local machine. So now you
Something
can
like
play this video. You can
image.
if I open, so without having to install any third-party video editor, guys, you can directly do this video trimming part in the browser itself using this awesome application that I developed. And in this live stream, I will going to develop this application in React.js step by step, guys. I will show you the complete process of building this video trimmer with timeline editor using these nice little sliders in React.js. I will show you which libraries, packages we will use it. So this makes it very much easy to select which portion, and for the user experience, it's very good because user is able to select the portion very easily and click on the trim portion. The video is cut and shown to you instantly. So the main advantage of using FFmpeg WebAssembly, guys, your basically whenever you select your video file, it is not uploaded to a third-party server. It is directly, all the processing is done right in the browser itself. So no video is uploaded to a server. So it is all happening in the browser. So this is the actual main advantage of using FFmpeg WebAssembly library. So all the things, all the processing is happening right in the browser itself. So this is actually the advantage of using this library. And the package that we are using, guys, you can just type FFmpeg WebAssembly. This is their official documentation. You can read more about it, but it is developed in TypeScript, which is a superscript of JavaScript. And WebAssembly, guys, as you all know, it's just a intermediate language to binary code. So it is in human readable format. So what it does, it actually compiles your FFmpeg library into WebAssembly code that we can run in the browser itself. So it has its documentation. You can check out all the methods that we will be using. So I developed this application using this documentation. So if you are interested in the full source code, guys, the link is given in the description. You can directly purchase it. If you need any kind of confusion, if you have, at the end of this live stream, the link is given. You can directly purchase it. You will get a zip file. This will contain the overall directory structure of the application. So now this is our application which I'm running it on localhost 3001. So what I will do is that I will stop this application. So I will delete all this source code. I will rename this to like this. So what I will do, I will create a new file, app.js. So this is our functional component will be there. So I will say hello world. So now I will restart this application. So npm run start. This will start your React.js application, and the default port number will be 3000. So this functional component that we made right here. So if you see in the package.json file, guys, we are actually using these packages, uh, which is the package we are using no use UI slider. So this slider that you see right here, this slider we are actually using it, no UI slider. This is actually the name of the library, no UI slider React. This makes it really useful if you want to trim the portion. You can allow the user to actually use this. So 20,000 weekly downloads are there. Simple command npmi no UI slider React. This is actual package that we are using right here. So this is actual package alongside with FFmpeg WebAssembly library. So it is just starting the development server. So just wait for this to start. So these are different kinds of scripts that are required for starting this application. So the very first thing, guys, we will actually do right here. So we will now see this hello world is showing right here to us. So now what we need to do is that we now go to app.js. So this is the actual single file which will be needed for this application. So what I will do, guys, first of all, I will show you how to load our load the FFmpeg WebAssembly library. This is the actual library that we are using for actually carrying out the conversion for video trimming and cutting process. So first of all, we actually want to use the use effect hook in React.js, which will automatically run whenever your React.js component will load. We will use this use effect hook. So this will automatically will execute. So here we need to provide empty parenthesis, empty square brackets. So this simply means that whenever your React.js component loads for the very first time, this code will automatically execute, and this will only execute once. This will not execute multiple times. So this will only execute for the very first time, and here we will write the code for actually loading the FFmpeg WebAssembly library. So here we will actually call a simple method which will be responsible for loading the script. So we will actually make this method load script, and here we will actually pass the CDN from which we will actually be pulling the FFmpeg WebAssembly library js deliver.net npm @ffmpeg @0.11.2/dist ffmpeg.min.js. This is the overall CDN, guys. If you copy this CDN, open this in browser, you will simply see this is the actual minified JavaScript code for your, I think we forgot to add the HTTPS. You can see that. So this is the actual minified code for this library, which is FFmpeg WebAssembly library. So we are actually uh, loading this script. So after you do this, this function will actually return a promise to you. We will say dot then. This will be async function, so this will return the promise. So we can handle this using dot then, and we can here just compare if type of window is not equal to undefined. So we can just simply first of all console log window. That's all. So here we need to make this function which is load script, which will be responsible for loading the script and adding it to the DOM. So it will actually accept this argument that we are passing in the source right here, guys. We are passing this CDN URL to this right here. If you can see right here, let me disable my volume here. So inside this function, guys, so what we need to do, we need to now return a simple promise. So return new promise, and there will be two things right here in this function. It will be returning either the promise can be fulfilled or it can be rejected. So on fulfilled, and this will be an arrow function. So right here we will simply be creating a element, dynamic element, which will be a script tag, because we just need to add the script element dynamically using this function. So this will be a async, so script.async, and we also need to use defer attribute. So script.defer is equal to defer, and script.set attribute, this is actual function which allows you to set the source for property of the script tag is equal to source. So whatever URL that you are passing in the function right here, it will get dynamically attached using this line. And this basically contains this on ready state change function. So on ready state change script.onload. So right here we will simply say if not loaded, in that we will fulfill the promise, pass the script, and make this to load it to be true. If any sort of error take place, on error, we can basically just say that the script failed to load. And finally we will just add this element to the DOM. So we can say document.getElement by ID, get elements by tag name, which will be head. We will basically add this to the head. You can add it to the first element. So dot zero append child script. So this is the overall function, guys. So the link is given, guys. You will get full source code after you face any problem. So this is the overall function that we written. So right here, guys, we do need to have I think all the things are correct. We do need to declare some state variables, guys, which is needed for this. We will declare it later on. For the time being, if I reload this application in the browser, localhost 300, cannot read properties of undefined, reading then. Uh, Let me see, guys, what is the problem here. Let me write this once again. Load script. So now you can see that we are basically loading this. If you refresh now, so it is saying that FFmpeg is not defined. Okay, we need to declare the state variables, guys. That's the problem it is saying. So okay, we just need to declare this one state variable, which is responsible is script loaded, and set is script loaded. This will be a Boolean parameter. Simply use state hook, we will use it. Initial value will be false. But this will be responsible for storing if the FFmpeg script has been loaded successfully or not. By default, the value will be false. And here we are actually making this value to be true. If you see, set is script loaded to be true. So it is saying that line 34, and we do also need to declare this variable, which is FFmpeg. So it's a global variable. Just declare it outside. Here we will be storing the instance of FFmpeg. Just make sure that you declare it. And if I go into my inspect element, go to console, you will basically see, guys, there will be this message here, this use FFmpeg WebAssembly version 0.11.2. This is actual object which is returned, guys. This contains all the methods which are supported by FFmpeg WebAssembly. So the core library of FFmpeg has been loaded, and you can just see this message: FFmpeg core library has been loaded. So we are actually calling this function create FFmpeg, which is a function that we are actually calling it. If you see, FFmpeg dot create FFmpeg. So if you don't want to see these log messages, you can put this log property to false. Then the log messages will not show in the browser. So it's very helpful that you want to see it. So just make sure log to true. We are executing this create FFmpeg. That's why your FFmpeg library first of all gets loaded in the browser. As you load your React.js component, you will see that now your library is loaded. Now we can actually perform our video training part. So after this is loaded, guys, now we will actually write our JSX. Instead of hello world, what we will do, we will basically have a div tag here and just give it a class name of app. And here we will simply be having a input element, and where we will be getting the file input type file, and we will be giving a on change to it. On change, when the file is changed, this function will get executed. We will basically call this function as handle file change. We'll call this function as handle file change. Now we just need to define this function. Handle file change. And obviously if you see open this, there will be a choose file button which will be appearing, and we do need to have our state variables, guys. So I will just go and simply add my more state variables. So one will be for calculating the video duration, how many total seconds the video is there. So set video duration, which will be the function use state hook we will again use. Initial value will be 0 second. This will be the duration of the video when we start the application. And then the end time, because in video trimming we need to set the start time and the end time for both these variables. Use state initial value will be 0, and also for the start time there will be this function set start time, initial value will again be 0. And then we will also be having video source. For setting the input video source, initial value will be nothing. So once you select the input file name, we will actually convert that into blob so that it can be displayed in the browser. And then there will be this video file value for displaying the output video once the video has been successfully trimmed. So for that we are actually declaring a variable set video file value. Initial value, once again it will be empty. We will use state hook. We just say script loaded, all that. And also video trimmed URL. So once the video is trimmed, we will be converting it to the blob. For that also we will declare as use state set video trimmed URL. Initial state will be nothing. So here we will basically also be declaring a variable for the slider. Initial slider value will be 0, like this. And also we will be declaring a reference for the video element. Video reference will be useref. We will use the useref hook, like this. So these are all the state variables which are needed, guys. For this we have used useEffect, useref, useState in React.js. So after declaring all these variables, we can actually now do our JSX. So we now need to write this handle file change method, which will be responsible when we actually input our input video file. So right here inside this function, so here this code will execute when the user selects the video. So here first of all we get access to that video using, so this automatically will parameter will be passed here, which we can call this as event. So event.target.files 0. So this will get a reference to that particular file the user selected, and then we will convert this file to blob. You can simply say blob URL, and we can say url.createObject URL. This is actual method available in JavaScript to actually convert the video to blob. We can pass the actual file which is selected, video file, and then we can call this hook function, which is set video file value to be blob URL, and also set video source to be blob URL. Sorry, here this will be file, the actual input file, and the video URL will be the actual blob URL. So with this help, we will be displaying this in the video player. So if you just execute your application, nothing will happen. If you select your file, it will not be displayed in the video player. For displaying it in the video player, we do need to add some JSX. So right here, just outside your, we will simply have a break tag. And after this, we will have this curly bracket, and here we will have a simple condition. We will only be displaying this video player once the file is selected by the user. So we will say video source if it contains some value if the length is greater. So right, you can see we are writing some conditional statement here, ternary operator. If the video hasn't been selected, in that case you can simply say nothing. So right here we do need to write here you can simply say our React fragment. So inside this React fragment, we will be displaying a video tag. The source will be equal to the video source variable. And we also have reference, which will be equal to the video ref variable that we declared. If you see, video ref is equal to use ref. And inside this video tag, we will have the source tag, and the source will be equal to here video source once again, and the type will be equal to the video file value that we have, and it contains a property called as type, which will be the mem type. So in this case, if you are selecting mp4, it will be the extension mp4 avi mov. So with the help of this, if you now select your video file, it will be shown in the video player. You can see that. So now it is showing in the video player. So now to actually play this, we can basically you can style this. You can import our index.css file. If you want to, you can import this and just target, or you can import app dots. Just make sure that you import app.css. So it will be right in the middle and it will show something like this. So we inside this app.css, we just given a height of 30 pixel, 300 pixel only. So the video player will be slightly shorter. It looks good. After you do this, guys, we just need to uh, after we will also be showing a slider where you can actually provide the starting time and the ending time. So this will be a break tag, and then we will actually use this no UI slider. It will be automatically be imported by VS Code. This no UI slider, guys, has some properties that you can do. First is the behavior. This will be tab drag. You can drag the slider using your mouse. This is a default behavior, and by default it comes with this, with these options. You do need to provide some start time and the end time. These are mandatory parameters. So step will be 1. You can give any value. Step is actually whenever you increase the slider, in which step it needs to increase. So it will be increasing by 1 value at a time. So margin, you can give it 1. And the range is very important. Here we need to provide the minimum value of the slider and the maximum value. So minimum will be 0 and the maximum will be the total duration of the video. So it will be coming in the video duration. If the video duration is undefined, you simply set it to 2. So also we need to provide the starting duration of the slider. So it will be at the 0 comma video duration, same value that we given to the range. So if you now select your file, they will need to provide connect as well, and on update on slider. So whenever the slider change the value, guys, this function will automatically execute. So we now need to define this function, update on slider change. And this file will be imported if you see no UI slider from no UI slider.react, but we do need to import the CSS file as well. This will be imported manually by yourself. Just write this import statement no UI slider slash distribute slash no UI slider.css. This will import the CSS file for this library. So if you now select the input file, there will be this nice little slider, guys, which will be in sync by, you can see that. So we can't move the slider, but the slider is showing. You can see that. We can do this, but this for updating these values, it is really important that we define this function that we defined it, which is update on slider change. So here two values will be there, the values and the handle. So these values will be automatically passed. So first of all, what we will say, set video trimmed URL to be nothing, and we will say read value, define this variable, and also we will check the value for handle. If it is having some value, then we will simply read the read values of handle. If it is not defined, then we will set it to 0. And here we will check the end time. If it is equal to undefined, sorry, if it is not equal to read value, then we will set the end time to be read value. This is the logic, guys, which is responsible for doing it. So this is slightly complicated, so I will simply copy and paste it and then explain to you what is happening. So essentially what it is doing right here, whenever we increase or decrease the value for slider, as we pick the video file, it is automatically doing what it should do. So as you pick your video file, guys, this slider, we do need to make sure, now we need to add this part, which is start duration and the end duration. So as we move the slider in the right duration and the right and left, whatever part that we want to trim or cut, we need to sync it with the start duration and the end duration. We now need to display this. As we move the slider, we also need this value to be changed so that the user can see your start duration and the end duration. So inside this code, right here after this, we need to add this start duration. You can see that we added this start duration, and this actually, you can basically purchase the full source code, guys. If you find it complicated, the link is given, you can directly purchase this full project. So here, guys, what we are doing, we are actually writing this convert to hour, minute, second. We are providing the start time and the end duration and the end time. We are providing this, passing it to this function. So we have defined this function. If you see, this function is responsible for converting to this format, which is hour, minute, second. So we actually passing the value of the time. For calculating the seconds, we are dividing the whole value by 3600. So this will give the value in hours, minute, second. For calculating in minutes, we are dividing this value by again 60, and then we are multiplying it by 60 to get the seconds. This will have, simply at the end we are returning the time. So this is the actual thing if you see. So one more thing that we are doing, guys, this is really important. If you see in this function, this is basically to actually get the duration of the video using video ref. So if you see, uh, to actually get this duration of the video, we are actually again using the use effect hook. So now this time this will execute every time this value changes, which is the video source. So video source, if you see, we have declared the state variable. So every time this value changes, which is video source, essentially which is responsible for the blob URL, if you see, every time this changes, this will execute. So now here we are actually, so if you don't write this, there will be a problem. If you see, if I select my video file, the slider will not move smoothly. If you see the slider, if I try to move the slider, it is not moving perfectly. So this is useful for the slider work. If you don't write this, the slider will not work. So here we are first of all just saying if video ref and if video ref dot current, here we are actually getting reference to the current video dot current video dot onload metadata. This is actual event which will actually take place when you want to calculate the duration of the video. So here you will simply set video duration to the current video dot duration, and we will set the end time to be current video dot duration, like this. So we are basically calling this hook methods that we declared. That's all that is needed for this function. So if you now see, it is saying video ref is not defined. So just make sure video ref. So if you now select your input file, now we can move the slider, I think. So you can now see, now we can move the slider very easily. So the part is really important, guys, for the button which is trim portion. So if you click the trim portion, automatically your video is trimmed. So now I will focus my attention of this function which is handle trim. So whenever you call this function, guys, this is the actual logic which is taking place. So if you see, we are actually running this command, which is this FFmpeg command. We are first of all loading the script, and we are actually calling this fs method, which will actually write this file. It is all happening in the browser, so it is not saving this file anywhere in the memory. It is all happening in the memory. So it is basically writing this file using this function, which is FFmpeg WebAssembly library function, which is fetch file. So we are fetching the video file value, and then we are getting the MP4 or extension of the video, and then we are running this command -i, which is the name of the video, -ss for the starting time, and then to the end time. And then we are not re-encoding the video, we are using the same encoding settings for the audio and video, and this is your output file name, which is dot the extension. After that, we are reading the file, and then we are creating url.create object URL, creating a simple blob, and then we are setting this video trimmed URL to be URL. This is a simple logic of this handle trim function. After we trim the video, we show this video in the video player by converting it to the blob URL and then showing it in the video player. If you see in the JSX, we are actually showing it a simple condition. If the video trimmed URL is there, then only show the video in the video player. We have the controls out there. In the source here, we are showing the video trimmed URL. So you can see that. So this is actual video. So you can simply play this video file, right click, download this video. So it's a very simple project, guys, but it's really powerful. You will get a very good base in understanding FFmpeg WebAssembly project. So you can directly purchase the full project with source code. The link is given in the description of the video. You can go to my website procodestore.com. After you purchase it, you will actually get the full source code alongside the zip file, which will contain the full directory structure from Google Drive automatically after the payment is done. And you will actually have this nice little slider where you can actually select. It will be synced with this start duration and then duration. You will automatically see in the real time as you change the slider value, and there will three options are there. You can play the video, you can pause the video, and then you can trim the portion of this. It is really fast, guys, really efficient. As you click the trim button, automatically your video has cut and trimmed, and now it is showing it in the video player. And now you can actually play this trim portion, or you can actually download this. So this is a very simple project in React.js, guys. If you are interested, the link is given in the description. You can directly purchase it, and please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well, and I will be seeing you guys in the next live stream.